The next indicator will be the fib projection tool. As I mentioned in the previous video, this uses the same logic as the WaveTech Pattern Finder. To be able to find patterns to project into the future, you need to know the high lows, and there's some theory behind this calculation that I talk a lot about in the live room, and I will be discussing this briefly in this video. But this fib tool is actually looking at the high lows that's being marked, those pivots, which I will show you in just a minute, and then is projecting out what the pattern is telling us on a Fibonacci ratio looking forward. So let's go ahead and take a look at the indicator. We're going to open up a 5-minute chart again, up to the indicators. Click on that to the invite only scripts and choose the WaveTech Fib projection. This will come up into the defaulted mode of a strength of 4. I will show you the settings here in a minute, but this is just Fibonacci targets. In this video, once I explain what's going on, show you in a real-time mode how it delivers this on a chart, in this case a 5-minute chart. Do a replay and you can see exactly how these targets are coming in, when they're coming in, and get a feel for how this indicator is going to lead you. One of the things that is important to understand in a lot of these patterns is they're recognizing that same high-low on the pivots. It's projecting a Fibonacci pattern. The ratio that wave 3 will be equal to wave 1, or it will be 1.382 or 1.618 times the length of 1. It's a classic Elliott pattern. Before getting into running this real time, up to the settings tab, once again, wheel on settings, do something very similar to what we did on the pattern finder. Go up and show pivot. See all of the pivot points that came up. We still have this set on a strength of 4. Now we can see every pattern, everything where the swings are, and what's being projected off of those swings. Change these values, fit the pattern better, but I like this setting at 4. When we go into day trading, I'll show you the setup that I want you to use in day trading. But for right now, understand how this pattern finder actually works. This is the pattern that the Fibonacci projection tool is calculating. Once it knows where wave 1 and 2 is, it's going to calculate out where wave 3 is likely to go. Just basic Elliott wave. The ratio is that wave 3 and 1 will be equal, or it will be a ratio of that. It will be 1.382 times the length of 1, or it will be 1.618 the length of 1. Now this is the basic calculation, but this is what the Fibonacci tool is doing. So this is what it looks like in hindsight. In this next illustration, we use some of the components. You'll see that the red and green triangles that are on the page, those are the marked pivots that we're going to be calculating from in a real-time mode. This is a 5-minute chart, how this market is going to set up and how it's going to move towards some of these targets. When we get into the PPM, show you how to use this tool on trade setups with intraday as well as end of day or daily, weekly, monthly, whatever length the chart. Do is run a replay so you can see this indicator actually calculate in real time. Show you the patterns. We just got some Fibonacci projections. The upside, we traded right to Fib 2. Now we traded Fib 3. We've traded through it. And when the PPMs are on the screen, you'll see some amazing stuff. It is going to be identifying these patterns in real-time mode. And now we just got some upward projections for 4130. We're seeing some spike. We're seeing the market starting to move toward those targets. Now we just got some downward projections. This is where the PPMs, when you see those in conjunction with this, will be very powerful. But we're looking at more upward projections coming in here up to 4134. Here we go. We're moving up. We went right to Fibonacci projection 1. Perfect. Got a rejection from there, straight down off of that level. Now we're starting to get patterns set up again. We're getting quite a bit of volatility. All of a sudden, we're trading all the way up through the highs. This was the first hour of trading. Now we're getting downward projections again, 4119, 4108. You can see the red numbers on the side. Those are the actual projections that are coming in. Now we have 4120, 4116. So here we are, just hit Fib target 2. bounce off of that. Now there's a new target. Fib target 1 is hit. Fib target 2 is hit. Fib target 3 is hit. I'm going to pause this just for a second. And when you see these calculations, when these targets were coming in, the market was trading up here at 41.28 and it was projecting down to 41.08. So, and these are also these bars, these are 5-minute bars, and they're happening in 1 second. So you're not really getting the feel. If I put it on a real-time mode, so one bar every 5 minutes, you have plenty of time to think through this. So this is just showing you exactly how this pattern is setting up. We got some upward targets now. The green is upward, red is down. Just got a red pivot here. We've got some downward projections, 4106, 4097 on the downside. Just got some upward projections again, 33, 40. But now you see the downward projections starting to come in. And all of a sudden the ranges are tightening up. When you see this in conjunction with the market grid, that's going to really define all this. It's just an amazing thing. I can't wait to show you how to use that. But you get the concept here of what's going on. And this is a very powerful tool, but this is all being calculated, just like I told you earlier, from those pivots. So once you know the pivots, we're trying to do that pattern that I was just showing you. And it's recognizing some very small patterns and it's recognizing larger patterns. Let's take a look at the settings here, just so you can get an idea exactly what's going on. In the setting, like I said, it was on 4. You can put this type of indicator on multiple times. So you could put it on again and turn one on 8, one on 4. I'll be showing you that technique. We got show pivots up here. That's all we need right now. 4x4, pivot strength of 4. The high pivot, the low pivot is going to be the same. You can play with all these settings and see what works best for the market that you're trading, whether it's individual stocks. This just happens to be the S&P futures. These are all the settings, just like before. I can change these to 8 and you'll see the patterns change. This will give us a much different pattern setup than what we had before. So if I spin back, there's not as many on 8 as there was in 4. So the smaller the increment, the more patterns it's recognizing. The larger the increment is the larger patterns. And you can see the accuracy is amazing. And the primary thing in trading is just having that, being able to build that objective real time so you don't have to think about it, especially if you're a day trader. This will complete the setup for the Fibonacci projection tool.